You think I'm a child of Ultron. I'm not Ultron. I'm not Jarvis. I am.
Avengers: Secret Wars is shaping up to be a monumental film that could change the MCU forever as it concludes the multiverse saga in 2027. Even in the early stages of its development, exciting news is emerging, particularly from the Marvel panel at San Diego Comic-Con 2024. The Russo brothers are back in the director's chair, and the announcement of Robert Downey Jr.'s return as Doctor Doom has fans buzzing, indicating that he will play a significant role as the main villain moving forward. Avengers: Secret Wars is set to hit theaters on May 7, 2027, promising to be an event that fans won't want to miss. Kevin Feige has hinted a bunch of times that this multiversal saga wrap-up is going to change the MCU for good. So, how could this all go down? One theory suggests that the final chapters of the multiverse saga might actually wrap up the entire MCU and reboot the franchise. Just like the DCEU rebranded into the DCU, the MCU could kick off a new era, leaving the old stories behind to make way for fresh narratives, new cast members, and characters. But given how the MCU is structured, this idea seems a bit far-fetched. All of this combines to make it appear less likely that the MCU will be rebooting after Avengers: Secret Wars, but it is possible. The MCU has spent more than 15 years building an empire, with movies and shows full of bright, colorful characters who come from a range of backgrounds and even various realities. The MCU has already built and included several alternate timelines which feature prominently in the stories and linked back to pre-MCU Marvel movies. All of this combines to make it appear less likely that the MCU will be rebooting after Avengers: Secret Wars, but it is possible. All of this suggests that a full reboot of the MCU after Avengers: Secret Wars seems unlikely, but it's still on the table. The MCU has spent over 15 years creating a massive universe filled with vibrant characters from different backgrounds and realities. They've already introduced several alternate timelines that play a big role in the stories and even connect back to pre-MCU Marvel films. So while it doesn't look like they'll completely restart things, it's not completely out of the question. Another possibility is that the multiverse saga could wrap up with all the different universes merging into one main world. The excitement around the MCU has noticeably dipped during the multiverse saga. While the Infinity Saga was filled with hits and generally received rave reviews, the sequel saga hasn't been as lucky. Sure, there have been some major successes, like Spider-Man: No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine, which hit the billion-dollar mark, but that was pretty standard for the studio towards the end of the Infinity Saga, making it feel less impressive now. Because of this, some fans are suggesting that merging the multiverse could help tidy things up. This idea aligns with the comics, where Secret Wars features a battle world created by Doctor Doom. With Robert Downey Jr. confirmed to return as Doom in the MCU, this theory gains some traction. However, it's still unclear whether combining these realities will be a permanent change or just a temporary shakeup before the next saga begins. Shifting gears, there's a theory circulating that the multiverse saga might wrap up with the big reveal that everything in the MCU has been a false reality. One Reddit user posits that since Wanda Maximoff entered the series, her powers have actually been much more significant than what we've seen in WandaVision and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They argue that those films only scratched the surface of her true capabilities. According to this theory, Wanda might have used her immense power to create a false reality to wipe mutants from people's memories, drawing some intriguing parallels to the comics. Wanda's powers are way more extensive than what we've seen in WandaVision and Doctor Strange, as those films only scratched the surface of her true abilities. In the House of M storyline from 2005, Wanda becomes increasingly unstable and ultimately uses her powers to erase mutants from existence, famously declaring "No more mutants" in one iconic comic panel. If this concept plays out in the MCU, it could be an amazing way to introduce mutants into the sacred timeline. However, it might also alienate fans who aren't emotionally connected to that comic storyline. After all, this would change the entire MCU and essentially make earlier films feel like they were just a dream. Also, there's a good chance that Doctor Doom will make his entrance into the Sacred Timeline at the end of the Multiverse Saga. Doctor Doom is such a big deal that you can feel his presence just from his mysterious vibe as Victor Von Doom. A villain of his caliber shouldn't be wasted. He deserves a solid story arc in the MCU. Kind of like how Thanos built up his character throughout the Infinity Saga, it's crucial to create anticipation for Doom and his backstory before he finally makes his move. Marvel Studios has hinted at or introduced most of the members of a certain dark team from the comics, but they're still missing one key villain. While it's exciting that Robert Downey Jr. is set to play Doctor Doom, it would be disappointing to see him come in and out in just 2 or 3 films. So it seems likely that Doom will step into the Sacred Timeline after the events of Doomsday and Secret Wars, where he can really establish himself and become a bigger threat to the heroes. If he doesn't get to execute his plans in those movies, it makes total sense for him to stick around and cause more chaos in the next saga. Another idea floating around is that the timelines in the MCU might just split apart instead of rebooting everything or saying goodbye to the Avengers forever. This is kind of happening already with all the multiversal stories, but taking it a step further could open up even more storytelling possibilities. While a shared universe is awesome for big story arcs, it can get a bit tiresome if it's used too much. Now that Robert Downey Jr. is confirmed to play Doctor Doom, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they handle the character. Plus, it's tough for new movies to get made with so many existing storylines to juggle. Splitting the MCU could allow heroes to exist in different realities, making it easier for new audiences to jump in and giving the creative team the freedom to explore fresh and exciting ideas. Next up is the idea that the Avengers Initiative might just be shut down. As mentioned earlier, it's possible that the whole operation set up by Nick Fury to bring the heroes together could be dissolved. The Avengers have been through so much, and with several members either dead or retired, it might be better to use the remaining heroes in a new way. Putting the Avengers Initiative on hold could make sense. With Avengers Secret Wars potentially pulling from the comics, this could be the perfect chance to introduce a new version of the X-Men into the MCU. While it would be a bittersweet moment for the franchise, it also feels like the right move. The MCU is gearing up to focus on new teams like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Keeping the Avengers around might just complicate things, so it could be best for Marvel to shift its focus entirely to the next generation of heroes and move past the Avengers saga. Lastly, let's talk about how the multiverse could become even more accessible. After America Chavez was introduced in Multiverse of Madness, we learned she has the awesome ability to literally punch holes in different dimensions. Since she's a new addition to the MCU and likely to show up in future projects, it makes sense to make the multiverse more approachable. Instead of ending the multiverse saga by merging or rebooting timelines, the MCU could embrace the diverse stories that come with the multiverse. It could just become a normal part of the MCU, allowing for more unique stories, exciting crossovers, and plenty of creative opportunities down the line. Plus, characters like Wanda, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man have all dabbled in the multiverse, so it makes sense for them to evolve and grow from those experiences. Well, that's it. What do you think will happen in the multiverse saga? Do you have any theories or predictions about how these storylines might unfold? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for all the latest updates. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in our next video.